Hello guys, and welcome to my channel. It's your girl Helen. Hope you're healthy wherever you are. So in this video, I'm going to be talking about the pros and cons of working as an outpatient nurse, which is called Ambulante Pflege in German. So you remember that I once made a video about outpatient care nursing, which I also called home care nursing. So in that video, I shared about my first experience, and that was I had the experience which I gathered about 192 hours. So in my program, my nursing program, I have to complete a maximum of 300 hours, and that I did was about now 192 hours, and this time I did about 168 hours, so which makes it about 600 hours, which is the maximum that I'm supposed to do. Yeah, which is required for my program. So before I continue, if you've not subscribed to my channel, please make sure to subscribe. Yay, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and please do not forget to leave a comment and also like my videos, okay? And if you're a returning subscriber, thank you very much for returning, and thank you for sticking by. So I'm gonna start with the pros. One of the pros is independence. Like, you're free. You have that feeling of independence, and it is mostly good for people who don't want to be watched, or people who can take responsibility on their own without having to push it on someone else. So if you don't like to be watched when you're working, or if you like to work alone, people who don't like to work as a team. So this is the best for you. So number two pros is that you get to build trust with your client, that's what I call it. So because you come every day to your client, that way you guys build trust amongst each other. So number three of the pros is that you get to organize your work yourself, and you don't have to work under pressure. You know, it's quite different from the hospital. Imagine where you have to work under pressure, like have someone watch you or something like that. In this case, no, you have to organize your work. Despite having a tour, of course, there is always a tour plan, how you get to go to your customers, to the clients. You have your tour plan, but still you get to organize it the way you want it. So number four is that the stress level is low. Like, it's not as much as you would when you're working in the hospital. So if you're working at a hospital, you don't have to wake up in the morning at 6 or at 3, depending on where you live or how far you live from your house. So you don't have to wake up. The stress level of the shift, there's no stress. You don't have to juggle around shifts. Of course, there is a juggle around shift. You have morning, fruiting, or afternoon shift, but there are no night shifts, of course. And the shifts are regulated. Like, you can also choose the number of hours you work in a day. Like, working a number of hours. Like I said, split your work, split your plan, split your hours the way you want it to be. So even on weekends, there are also flexibility. On weekends, there are flexibility. So it's not like the hospital where you have to work on weekends. Like, sometimes people work at the hospital like the whole weekend, like 3 weekends at a stretch without pause. So, but in this case, it's not like that. It is regulated. Like, you get your weekends. Even if you work during the weekend, maybe just for a few hours, and then it's finished, because your customers also want their weekends to themselves, and they try as much as they can to not to have you come around, and just to have their peace of mind during that weekend. So the next pro is that you get to learn so many experiences. You get to hear about so many life experiences from your clients, like so many. I've actually heard during my short period that I worked there, we get to hear and learn about some of the people's experiences. People tell their stories, very interesting ones at that, and some of them are pitiful, and some of them you're like, you don't even, you're going to be, so for some of them you get dumbfounded. So that's one good thing about it, and you get to learn so many things from your clients. That's it. And I've lost count. I've lost count of the pros. So number 7 is that the patient reacts differently because he is in his house. Like, he is comfortable. The house is familiar. The house is a familiar environment. So because it's a familiar environment, they react differently, and you also get to meet their relatives, interact with their relatives better, so as that way you get to know the patient better. So it's kind of relationship, it's kind of a holistic care, let me say. So the next one, which I like most, is that you get to wear what you want, depending on your employer anyway. So you get to wear what you want. Like someone like me, I don't like wearing uniforms anyway. Even though I love my job, I don't like wearing I don't like that I wear uniforms. So but in this case, you get to wear your normal clothes. You get to wear what you like to work, unless your employer has a t-shirt or something that he wants that everyone is required to wear. If not, you wear your normal thing. So the next one is that you get to keep those nails. Like you get to keep your nail polish, or keep your artificial nails, depending on the one you did. And like I said, it also depends on your employer. Okay. So the next pro is that you don't get to be dependent on the doctors. Like the doctors, like in this case, you have to do some things on your own, and you get to improvise instead of relying on the doctor to give some results or to do some things. In this case, you already know what you're going to do, so you're not dependent on the doctors, just like as you would in the hospital. So guys, pardon me, I'm making this video very late, and because I have a lot to do, that's why I'm making it so late, and my light is not so bright. I hope you're able to see me properly. Okay. And the last but not the least of the pros is that you get to know your city properly. Yeah. So because you work with the car, and you go on tours, you visit patients, you have the patients in different addresses. That way you get to know your city properly. You already know your way around, which I count as a pro, if you ask me. Yeah. So now I am going to get into the contra part of it. So I'm going to be talking about the disadvantages right now. So number one point I count as a contra is worrying about overtimes. So sometimes you end up having little hours, and sometimes you have higher hours. So and in this case, it's really not balanced. Like you worry about it every time you juggle between overtime and short time. I think that's the right word. So the next contra is the time constraints. So in this case, because there is a maximum number of hours allotted to each patient, so in this case you have to walk very fast, like try very fast as much as you can, so as to get to the next patient, because the next patient is already expecting you. There is a particular time at which he expects you to arrive. So, and at this time, he already expected to arrive. He also has his own plan, and that way you also have to work in such a way that you have to meet up with their time. And it's something, if you get held up in this other patient's house, you have to also hurry up to meet the other patient's house. So in some cases, you end up working so fast so that you can meet up. So that's one of the contra, which is a disadvantage anyway, if you ask me. So the next contra is that you learn nothing new. Of course, there are possibilities like Vita building, and there are Vita building like Fort building, that's like seminars or courses you can attend just to make yourself better or to work more. But in most cases, because you are stuck in the same routine, nothing interesting, the same patients. Unlike in the hospital, where you have different patients with different cases, people come different every day. You experience different things. You learn new things even without doing extra course or doing any sort of Vita building, and that's what I don't like about it. So you're like stagnant. You're stuck with the things you learned from school. For instance, if I decide to go in there, I'm stuck with the things I learned from the school or with the experiences I learned from the hospital, which I don't really like. So like I said, for me, the next one is that you're stuck with the same patient. Like it's not exciting. I don't consider it exciting. It's not exciting for me. So another contra is that you need a doctor's prescription for everything, every little thing you have to do, every little medically related issues. You need a doctor's prescription for it. So the next contra is that you are on your own in case of emergency. So take for instance, you have a patient that has a blood sugar about 350 or 500 in some cases. So you freak out, so you call, although some people might say it's not difficult, but sometimes in this case you're alone. So blood sugar is actually not, it's a crisis, but it's not really one of the hardest ones, not one of the hardest one that can happen, not one of the worst that can happen. But I'm just using that as an example. So your patient you notice that your patient had blood sugar of 500, and you gave the patient insulin or something, and just to get it better, to push it down. So in this case, you just finish your job and you're going home. You can come back not only the next day. So you're gone, you left the patient, you're not going to come back to check on the patient. But at the hospital, you get to come back and check on your patient, measure the blood sugar again and see how he or she is faring. So, and that's what it's also a pro for me. And not just that, if things happen like emergencies, like you find your patients on the floor or something, or some kind of thing where you need help and you have to walk with someone where you need help of someone's help. So in this case, you're alone. You only have to call you need to call 911 or call 112, which is emergency numbers. And call 112. What am I saying? I'm not in the US or anything. Call 112, which is the emergency number, before you can get help. Or you call the company you're working with and seek for help. So that's the only way you can get help in this case, which is a contra for me. So another contra is that I found myself having to drink little, because I don't want to pee at every client's house. So you drink little water, you are dehydrated because you don't want to pee at every patient's house, because you don't want to use their toilet, because you don't know how clean it is, and because you don't want to, so because of that, you drink less, and which is not so good. And yeah. So next contra is having to walk on the rain, on the sunshine. So because every patient has to be attended to and have a particular time that he or she has agreed on with your employer. So in this case, you have to be there on the rain, on the sunshine, on the snow. So, and if there are problems with the snow, like it snowed too much, there was a storm, you have to juggle your way around, like find a way to get to your patients anyhow, no matter how. So, and that's one of the contras. So next contra is driver's license. So you need a driver's license to be able to work in the ambulance care or outpatient care. If you don't have a driver's license, you may as well know how to ride a bicycle, but of course a bicycle is not optimal, because if it's raining, the rain is going to be, you're going to be wet. So you need a driver's license to be able to do your job properly, to be able to, drive around town, reach your patients as soon as possible. So next contra is finding a parking space for your car. Now, is a very difficult one, because especially in Frankfurt here, because it's really difficult. It's a city where there are lots of cars, lots of people, and people find it difficult to get parking spaces, and it's really a challenge. It was a challenge for the person I worked with, who drove, and we had to worry about every time if the car is going to get towed. And next contra is that if the car gets towed, you are going to bear the responsibility you're going to bear the responsibility. You're going to pay for anything that happens to the car if the car gets towed, just because you parked in the wrong place. So this is a contra for me. That being said, this is where I am going to end this video. So guys, if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please make sure to subscribe to my channel, and I hope that you like this video enough to give it a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up, and please leave a comment leave a comment below, okay, so that I can also know, like, if you have suggestions or anything or questions, feel free to ask me, or feel free to send me a message on my Instagram or on my Facebook. I have a Facebook page which I also usually write the name, my Facebook and Instagram handles in the description of every video that I post. So please make sure to check it if you want to contact me personally, okay? And I'm going to see you in my next video. Bye.